right?
Yes.
So we must understand, therefore, that merit is not a management concept. It is not even a social concept. It's a political concept. It's a political instrument of power.
Perfect.
It's a very vital political instrument to establish and maintain power and to disempower, to justify disempowerment. So, for example, in that paper that I wrote, I quote Professor Carson arguing that the purpose of testing was because France and the United States faced a dilemma. They had overthrown the aristocracy. They had established a democracy based on equality. But they were faced with a problem that they needed to replace the old elite with a new elite. Because they believed in equality and equal protection of the law, but they were not convinced that all people are really equal. They still felt that some people are superior and others are inferior, although they were not sure about the role of nature and nurture, but they were sure that some people are better than others. So the question was how to identify the superior people and ensure that they form the new elite, and then they run the country as a meritocracy, and that meritocracy becomes an oligarchy, and that oligarchy creates a monopoly to protect the country from inferior people. Actually, the whole purpose of merit is to protect the country. It's a defensive mechanism, not against external enemies, but from dumb people internally, people deemed to be dumb internally, right? So therefore, then this Professor Carson argues that these two republics that were formed in the late 18th century around the same time, they actually turned to testing to create and legitimize a system of inequality, as you also say, based on standardized testing, right? So this, I argue, is a mistake that our constitution, thanks to Dr. Ambedkar, did not make. Because of reservation. Because reservation is part of the constitution. So we not only provided for equality and equal protection of the law, but we rejected elitism. And the provisions in 16.4, where Ambedkar introduced the word backward classes and provided for adequate representation for backward classes, is really an rejection, constitutional rejection of elitism. And therefore, if there is no elite, there is no meritocracy. If there is no meritocracy, there is no oligarchy. If there is no oligarchy, there is no social monopoly. So the Constitution rejects all this. American Constitution, French Constitution did not reject elitism. And therefore, they had the problem. But we have, as you correctly said, our elite have preserved the colonial system of selection through standardized testing. So we are still preserving, using against our constitution, a method of selection and an idea of merit that is elitist. So therefore, we must understand, the first point is we must understand that merit is a political weapon used for a minority to a very small, minuscule elite, to an oligarchy to maintain power. That's my first point. The second point I want to say is, okay, what do we understand as Brahmanic merit according to me, and what do we understand as scientific merit according to me? So from this point of view, Brahmanical merit was developed as a colonizing political weapon to justify the exclusion of let's call them the Prakrit people, exclusion of the Prakrit people, and the building up of a Sanskritic elite. And therefore merit became so the Brahmanical idea of merit was then justified through a superstition that people are equipped with sattvic gunas based on their deeds in the last birth by God, and then placed into social categories which are based on merit by God, because Bhagavad Gita says Chaturvarnya Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. So God has divided society according to merit into in the unverifiable previous birth into four categories. And so for them, basically, the Brahmanic idea of merit includes the extent to which God has given you, based on the previous birth, sattvic gunas. Now, there is nothing you can do in this social order except to accept the Brahmanical religion obey it, and then build merit by consenting to your subjugation, so that in future births you may be rewarded with more sattvic gunas and a higher place. So so if merit is a system of answering the question who deserves what, basically the Brahmanic system of merit says he or she who has earned merit in the previous birth, they alone deserve the good things in life, power, and so on, according to God, and nobody else deserves it. Now, this Brahmanic idea of merit also rests on the assumption that human beings, because of this intervention of God and Punarjanma and all that, and karma theory, human beings are born, some are superior, some are inferior, right? So that's an elitist view, very elitist view, that there is an elite. Our question is, how do you discover the elite? Here is a simple way of discovery. Look at the birth. Whichever community you are born in, God has put you in, that shows your capacity. So the Brahmanic idea of merit is an idea that is based on superstition. It is an idea that does not permit any human action to acquire merit. Any human action to acquire merit, except to accept your lack of merit. That's your only agency that you have. And the Brahmanic idea of merit is also an elitist idea of merit that is based on distinguishing the elite and ensuring that only the elite will rule in an oligarchy and have monopoly. Now, what is this idea of merit is totally opposed to the constitutional idea of merit. The constitutional idea of merit, now you correctly said that the idea of merit must also be ethically infused. I would say that the constitutional idea that merit is a framework which basically says what are the qualities that you will recognize and reward, right? So the ethical qualities must be an inherent part of merit, must be the primary part of merit. And from the constitutional point of view, commitment to and belief in equality, freedom, dignity, fraternity are the first qualities of what that must be recognized and appreciated and rewarded in this country under the Constitution. So the ideas that your merit are given by God are, and I'll come to the scientific part of it, but certainly from the constitutional point of view, neither that nor the idea that there is elitism, there some are superior and some are inferior, and there should be oligarchy. These ideas are rejected by the Constitution. So therefore, when we think of the constitutional idea of merit, a scientific idea of merit, we must populate the idea of merit, fill the idea of merit with constitutional values and scientific values. Now, what do I mean by a scientific idea of merit? I mean, what is the essence of science? The first essence of science is really that everything is open to question. Everything is open to question. Science is a methodology of questioning. Right? So when I say scientific idea of merit, it means it is an idea of merit where all the concepts and the use and the role of merit must be constantly subject to question, to see who is it benefiting, who is not benefiting. Why do we have this concept of merit? Is it fulfilling the purposes that we have set for ourselves as a people, the political and ethical and justice-oriented goals or not? So scientific idea of merit is constantly open to question. Secondly, the scientific idea of merit is based upon proved facts. It is based on knowledge, the knowledge that is based on empirical facts. It is not simply knowledge that has come from, the Platonic definition of knowledge. I don't need to true justified belief. So it is based on true justified belief, not based on superstition or holy books. So the idea of merit must be derived from facts to be scientific. It must be based on, it must be rational, it must be reasoned, right? And rationality means it must advance the objectives that have been accepted democratically by the people. And these objectives are in the Constitution to establish a just social order. So any idea of merit must be rational, must be related to the objectives, rationality of the Constitution, and must also be open to questioning, and must also be based on facts, proved facts, and reason. In other words, science demands that our approach to merit must be based on scientific reasoning and rationality. And that's what we mean by scientific merit. Now, even scientific merit comes in, the Brahmanic idea of merit, which is based on superstition on religious faiths, on unverifiable assumptions, these two cannot coexist. The scientific merit will blow up this irrational, superstitious idea of merit, that human beings, because of their last birth, have been infused by God with certain qualities, and those are the only qualities that count as merit, that need to be recognized and rewarded, and they cannot be built up by human action in your lifetime. They cannot be questioned. So this is where there is a conflict between the scientific idea of reasoning and merit, and the Brahmanic idea of merit. And so I would say that we need to consciously understand that merit is a political idea, that it's an empty box. We have to fill that box with the content we need to protect our constitution and its values. And so we must deliberately develop a concept of merit that should strengthen and uphold the values of the republic, that should break down oligarchies and monopolies and elitism and hierarchy, that should be democratic, that there should be constant democratic renewal and questioning of ideas of merit. Are they working? The risks you pointed out. Are people becoming, is there a hierarchy building up because of the idea of merit? Is arrogance building up because of the idea of merit? Are people being excluded because of the ideas of merit? These must be constantly scrutinized so that it is kept democratic and it does not end up with these ideals of elitism which we rejected in our constitution, unlike in the US and the French constitution. And then these merits should also ensure representation. It should ensure that there cannot be merit without representation. There cannot be merit without voice. There cannot be merit without inclusion. Anything that is not inclusive, that is not representative, is not meritocratic as far as the Indian scientific constitutional approach to merit is concerned. And therefore, we have to say that we should be, of course, regardless of all this, we should also shift the focus of merit away from looking at the nature of the human being to looking at the nature of institutions and the working of institutions. We must make merit not an political instrument to subjugate people, but merit an instrument to make our institutions much more effective and much more democratic. So we should shift the idea of merit from individuals to looking at institutional quality and institutional excellence. So if you're recruiting for civil service, we have to break it down and say what kind of skills, qualities, attitudes, and knowledge do you need for the institution to be effective. And then to ensure that people who are recruited have the necessary skills and attitude for that, we have to shift, as you said, also in a different way, shift the focus of merit away from individuals, not to a collective, but to institutions, and make sure that merit is simply an instrument to ensure institutional excellence. Because the whole Brahmanic approach to merit is about establishing the relative nature and relative ranking of human beings. And institutional excellence comes from the excellence of the human beings who are in the institution. That is a very Brahmanical idea, that look, unless you have good people, you cannot run good institutions. And I think that is an idea of merit that we must question and reject as not scientific and as not democratic. And so finally, I would say that we should also democratize the methods of selecting of applying merit. See, merit is used now as a method of selecting people when everyone cannot have an opportunity. How do you choose who you will not select, who you will not give an education seat to, who you will not give a job to? So in this, we need an approach which is not testing, but is much more scientific, which looks at the needs of the institution and the ability of people to deliver on those needs. As I said, not measuring individuals, but measuring the needs of the individual. So we must recognize that testing is an inherent part of the elitist oligarchic system, and we must replace it with multi-point, multi-dimensional approaches to selection and testing. And ultimately, our institutional values must recognize that our primary objective of the Constitution is to build democratic institutions. And that's why Article 38 of the Constitution says that the state shall promote the welfare of the people by securing, as effectively as it may, a social order in which all institutions of national life are informed by justice, social, economic, and political. So our focus must be to ensure that the idea of merit and the idea of selecting people into institutions must all be subordinate to the idea of building a social order in which all institutions are subordinate to constitutional values. So I think as a practical matter, what we need to do is to come up with some more detailed mapping of what exactly should be the content of merit. What should be the kind of indicators that we should use as a basis for appreciation and recognition of people for the purposes of selection and for the purposes of progression within organizations. You and I have been in many organizations. We don't have at all a scientific approach to this question about what kind of qualities we are looking for, what kind of qualities should be rewarded and recognized, and how they are aligned to our constitutional values. So lastly, from this point of view, reservation in the sense of as a instrument for instant dissolution of an oligarchy, an absolutely genius instrument. It's not affirmative action. It is nothing. It is an instrument to dissolve oligarchy simply by forcing people from outside the oligarchy into judiciary, executive, legislature, and educational institutions, and instantly dissolve, if it is properly effected, instantly dissolve an oligarchy. So I think we must, and by that we are improving the merit in terms of the indicators that we want recognized and rewarded, namely democracy, equality, freedom, social justice, and fraternity. The reservation is a very important and essential instrument to protect and advance the constitutional idea of merit. And Brahmanic, and it is not reservations that is killing constitutional merit in this country. It is Brahmanism as an ideology that is actually killing constitutional merit in this country. And so to safeguard constitutional merit in this country, scientific merit in this country, we must protect and strengthen reservations and remove all the restrictions that have been put on reservation, implement it as quickly and effectively as possible as an effective countermeasure against the oligarchy of this country, so that we can achieve the goal of democratizing our society. Let me stop here and see if we have, it's 7:32, we can have a short discussion.
Yeah, good evening. I'm Subbaya here. Can I take the time?
Yes, please. Yes, Mr. Subbaya.
See, you mentioned just now that reservation is a need. I think you are on that mindset. Yes. I say
it's an instrument. It's an instrument for breaking down an oligarchy. Oligarchy means few. Archy means rule. Oligarchy means rule by a few. Yes, sir.
See, it's an instrument that the government as well as the public have been using for the last 7 decades.
Yes.
What happened at the ground level?
Sorry, sir?
We know what has happened at the ground level.
Yes.
So, in fact, Indian society is actually very familiar or used to the community living. But a community has been divided into forward, backward, SC, most backward, tribes and all. It is a nonsense. Let us stop that categorization. You give them resources to sustain themselves. Once you give the resources to sustain themselves and educate them appropriately,
correct,
then you need not have reservation. The people will be on their own.
Yes,
that's my small comment.
I think that is a very a point of view that is widely expressed. So I respect that point of view. My only point is that I feel that the core problem facing our country is, and there's a lot of research on this, that any country where power, resources, wealth are held by a small number of people, unless that is broken, the country cannot progress. We are talking of two different things, sir. So ultimately, I can give you some references to very serious analysis of this. A country with an oligarchy cannot progress. You have to break down the oligarchy. Power has to be, and wealth and resources will then spread. But you cannot have oligarchy. So our concern is we are a country where the power is concentrated very heavily in a small group of people. Unless that history shows us, the history of all countries show us that unless that ends, the country cannot progress under an oligarchy. So this is the basic issue that we are battling at the micro level. How should people progress? That's a separate and a complicated question, sir. Some people may progress. You'll find in all communities there are successful and unsuccessful people. Somebody contacted me the other day. He's from related to a royal family, he said, but he grew up in great poverty. So the fact of the matter is, because his ancestors, whose society did not close any door to, they could go to college, they could go to school, they could go to temple, they could go anywhere. They had no social restriction, but they still did not use that opportunity to look after, to do the right thing and educate themselves and improve their capacity. They did not do that. That will happen at the micro level. But at the level of the country, we know that where power is concentrated in a few hands, that country cannot progress. Lot of literature from all over the world with data to prove this. So reservation was meant in order to simply break that monopoly of few people over power. After that, we will sort all the other problems out, sir. This is like, suppose I have a heart problem. I want to to fix that heart problem, but I may have some fracture in the hand, fracture in the leg. All that I'll fix. But to live, I have to first take care of my heart to live. So I have to do the heart surgery first. So this is like the heart surgery. Unless we break the oligarchy, no country in the world can progress with a few people holding power. So that is a primary. After that, yes, you're right. People have to work hard and use resources and all that. That's a separate issue. Education has to be good. All that will happen. Kerala is a good example, sir. I'm from Kerala. Here the oligarchy has been weakened. The condition of ordinary people is better than anywhere else in this country, sir. Anywhere else in this country. And that is not because Kerala have something special. It's simply because in the last 150 years, we managed to reduce the strength of the oligarchy, not eliminate it, reduce the strength of the oligarchy. And so policies became beneficial to everyone. Reservation is a very necessary method. It's only concentrated in 4 sectors, sir. Legislature, executive, lower judiciary, and education. In these 4 areas, if the concentration of power is reduced, society will progress. It's not in the private sector. Out of the organized employment in this country, which is only about 8% is organized employment out of the total labor force employment in this country. Out of the 8%, only 2% are in the public sector. Of that, only 50%, 1% has reservation. That cannot be responsible for all the ills of this country. And so it's a very small area, but it's crucial. It's crucial to democratize these 4 spaces, 5 spaces. Education as a preparatory step, but legislature, executive, judiciary, and legislature, executive, judiciary, and education, sir. These 4 spaces, once you have everybody is in there, society becomes more stable, and the decisions will benefit people. That's what we have experienced in Kerala, sir. And I think we are not saying different things, sir. I'm talking of heart surgery. You're talking of how to fix the fracture in the leg. Both are important, but let us first take care of heart surgery.
Mohan, I would like to make a brief comment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Actually, I agree with you and what Mr. Gopal said previously. Yes. That reservation is an institute to democratize our government institutes.
Yes, sir.
And listening to you, I was reminded of a speech which I listened 30 years back of Shri V.P. Singh.
Yes.
V.P. Singh was addressing a public meeting, and he said, and he had long administration experience, and V.P. Singh ji said कि हमारे पास जो ज्यादातर शिकायतें आती हैं, the most of the complaints we get of bureaucrats,
yes,
वो ये नहीं आते कि ये bureaucrat meritorious नहीं है, वो
Yes.
ये आती हैं कि ये बेदर्द है, जालिम है, ये हमारी सहानुभूति से बात सुनता नहीं है,
Yes.
हमारी शिकायतों पर ध्यान नहीं देता, या भ्रष्ट है, करप्ट है। तो मेरिट हैज नथिंग टू डू। जो एग्जाम्स के मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चंस या जो क्वेश्चन आंसर्स जो सिविल सर्विस के लिए आते हैं, उसमें जैसे आपने कहा कि डिफरेंट, जस्ट लाइक ए डॉक्टर,
Yes.
डॉक्टर्स का एडमिशन होता है कि आपका केमिस्ट्री, आपकी बायोलॉजी, आपकी फिजिक्स कैसी है, मल्टीपल चॉइस के क्वेश्चंस कर दिए। डॉक्टर के दिल में कितनी ह्यूमैनिटी है, जैसे मदर टेरेसा है, उस तरह की उसके दिल में एक एम्पैथी है फॉर द पेशेंट्स के नहीं। Nobody looks at this. So the point is, I would end my saying with a quotation from Albert Einstein.
Yes, sir.
Albert Einstein once said that everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree,
Yes.
it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid.
Yes.
Sir, agar the people who are in power for thousands of years,
Yes.
they have decided what is merit. Suppose कल को ग्वालाओं का राज आ जाता, 4000 साल तक ग्वाला का राज चलता, and they decided कि भी आप गाय का दूध कैसे निकाल सकते हो, this will decide the merit.
Yes.
So it would have been different.
Yes.
So how you define merit is also an issue.
That is the main issue, sir. That is the
Yes.
main issue. That is
For
the
a
main
doctor,
issue.
it's a different kind of merit. For a civil servant, it is a different kind of merit.
Correct.
That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Fully agreed, sir. What I'm saying is, let us recognize that merit is a political issue, and the content of merit is a political issue. So let us get much more specific about it, sir. Why should having bachelor's level knowledge in 10 subjects entitle you to become a civil servant and rule us for the whole life, sir? So we should get into how exactly, who decides what is to be valued and recognized, and how, and it is a political idea. So let us get much more into detailed work on deciding what is merit and what is not merit.
Yeah, can I ask something related to what the person the person who spoke just now?
Yes, yes, please.
Yeah. So no. So I think we are probably attacking this whole problem in a different way, isn't it? I mean, see, there is, under the Brahmanical system, there is a concept of absolute merit, as in, like you say, somebody has height. So uska height is 5 feet 10 inch. Uska height is 5 feet 11 inch. Just like that. Okay, this person has 10 kilos of merit, the other person has 12 kilos of merit, so therefore the person with 10 kilos of merit should be respected more. My point is it even possible to think like that? I mean, merit is always related to what we are looking at, what is the function of that person going to be, right? I mean, if it, like the other person was saying, if it is going to be a bureaucrat, then the merit, one of the key elements of merit will be empathy.
Yes.
Okay, and if it's somebody who's going to be a bus conductor, then one of the key elements of merit will be his physical fitness and ability to stand in the bus. So there cannot be any single definition of merit that is a concept, that is a very Brahmanical concept that we have inherited, and unfortunately we are still enslaved by this notion that merit is something that can be measured independently. You cannot measure merit independently unless you tell me what is the purpose for which you are measuring it. So our intention, our purpose should be to put this across to people so that they stop believing that, okay, just because somebody has passed an examination in flying colors, that person should be made some clerk in a bank or some panchayat official. No, that is not enough. That is why people, especially these so-called general classes, feel that they have lots of merit, and people who don't have merit are getting into all kinds of government position through reservation, because they think they equate merit with the ability to score high in any written examination. But that is the whole problem. If we make everybody understand that merit is not equal to your score in an examination, then this whole concept of this complaint, people without merit are getting all kinds of jobs, will disappear. So shouldn't we attack it like that?
No, I think what you're saying is 100%, I mean, in line with everything that Professor Gopal Guru also said, and I was also saying, and Justice Virendra Singh has also said. And I would only mainly what you're saying is there is no single, as I said at the beginning, there is no standard or static concept of merit. Merit simply is an indication of what do you want to recognize and reward. And the answer to that differs from issue to issue, person to person, context to context. So if we make people understand that the exercise here is to decide what is important. What is important? It's like when I should not say, if, for example, there is a father who's looking for a husband for his daughter, right? He will not have a standard list, because for one daughter, he may have one list, for a second daughter, he may have another list, right? Because he knows that what is the right value for this daughter is different from that daughter, because he knows them well. He will
exactly
say,
how many fathers will hold a written examination and usme jo top karega beti nahi dega, you know, nobody will give that.
Correct. So we must use those kind of examples to show that, look, merit simply means to see what you value. What is important to you? What are the attributes that must be recognized for daughter number 1 and daughter number 2? They are different, right?
No, important to the purpose. Important to the purpose.
No, of value to that, to value for that purpose. Whatever the purpose is,
for that purpose.
You have to be customized approach to merit, because merit is simply a system of deciding what should be valued. Second, we must make people understand that the ideas of merit are political ideas. To say that something is standard, that it is 10 feet and not 12 feet, as you say, or it is 10 kilos and not 12 kilos, is a political action meant to suppress you. And so the idea of merit is simply a tool for people to advance the values that they consider important. So the Brahmanical ideas have advanced values, including elitism. So the idea that merit must be standard is an idea that helps them a lot, because they will be able to ensure that they can construct an elite and establish an oligarchy, the rule of the few in this country. But if we want a democracy in this country, then what we should value should be diversity. That is merit for us. Representation is merit for us. So when we walk into an organization or an institution where everybody is represented, men, women, caste, communities, religion, region, then we should say, oh, this is a meritorious institution. Why? Because merit means what we value is diversity. What we value is representation. What we value is equality. What we value is no hierarchy. A flexible idea of merit, as you say, not a static idea of merit, a customized idea of merit. Because to decide merit, the first question to be asked is, what is the purpose for which you're asking me merit? So we actually have a very sophisticated idea of merit in this country, but we are not using it for purposes of employment into government appointments or education. See, there we are making an exception, because we want the people who are deciding what is merit there want to grab all those opportunities for themselves. So
no, I think part of also the other side of it is also that you know, traditionally in a Brahmanical or an Aryan society, a certain group of people specialized in memorizing lots of paragraphs and stanzas of hymns and scriptures.
I'm a teacher. I can tell you that's not correct. There are people who come from, you know, who are children of manual laborers who can memorize better than any Brahmin I've met. Because they have to memorize more things. They have no book. They have no, you know, smartphone. They have nothing. Their memories are amazing. There is a policeman who was sitting. I once lost my bag in Delhi airport because I put it in a taxi and the taxi left. And I just told him my destination and the time and my name. Thousands of cars are going. This man can remember every car number and every name. And he said, you wait 15 minutes, that car will come back. 15 minutes.
My point is that we have unfortunately made memory the key criteria for deciding merit.
No, we are not even rewarding memory. We are just rewarding what is accessible to an elite. What is accessible to an elite? What they have access to learn. That's all. But if you want to test pure memory, all human beings, it is all every segment of humanity, not just the upper caste, have tremendous memory. But these people have access to the kind of information they are testing, they have access to from a young age. And that has been recognized in the paper that I've written. These people have, the people have recognized that there are advantages to people who, when they grow up, they see certain things. They get newspaper in their house, they read certain things. They know current events more because they have more access to that. They know what is happening in Afghanistan and Taliban and all that. So it is more playing on familiarity, picking on criteria that you're more familiar with. It's like if we make Gulli Danda a Olympic game, for some time we may win because nobody else is familiar with it, right? So that familiarity is what they're using. But the main point I think we should convey is that, first of all, when people ask us reservation skill merit, our response must be, are you talking of Brahmanic merit or scientific merit? Please clarify. Please clarify. And secondly, ask them, what exactly do you mean? What exactly do you mean by merit? Right? Are you talking only of marks in 10 subjects? Can you point out any country in the world, any modern country in the world which accepts this as merit? Why is this not changing? Why is this not changing? It's not changing because the Brahmanical idea of merit is actually about your gunas, your sattvic gunas, the community into which they are born. That is all. They don't care about any other merit. If you are from that community, fine. Then they can get into sub details. But if you tell them, that look, the idea of merit needs to be, as you said, customized. It is be much more scientific to assess, as Justice Singh said, emotional qualities, emotional intelligence, memory, knowledge, skills, QASK, qualities, attitudes, skills, and knowledge as relevant. And that's how, for example, JNU selects. The other thing they do is they integrate JNU, old system in JNU, they integrate the marks in the written test with other criteria, like remote villages. And a mark that comes out is an integrated mark, and separately for different categories. So you cannot say that you got 2 marks more than me or 3 marks less than me.
So how do we make this clear to the general sections? I mean, the general segment, so-called general segment, who feel that they are being cheated because they have lots of marks, but the jobs are going to people with lower marks. So how do we convey to them that marks is not equal to merit?
So we have to attack the idea of testing, standardized testing, which is happening all over the world. Sandel wrote a book called The Tyranny of Merit about standardized testing, right? So all over the world. So we have to change the method of selection. Okay. We have to understand two things. One is that merit is, as you said, has to be in relation to the context and the objects, and it should not be allowed to be used as an instrument of political power to build an oligarchy, number one. Number two, then for each system, we must build a much more complex system of testing. So the judiciary has been spreading testing and examinations all over, everywhere. This is what we have to attack. So then they can't talk of marks anymore. They will look at personality. Look at how the army recruits. The army does not look at marks in a test and recruit. The army goes through a test, it selects people on some preliminary basis, brings them over to the army base, does almost 2 weeks of selection before deciding who they recruit.
Also look at how private companies, how do they don't conduct tests. They interview the person, they see if that person has qualities that they want, which exactly. For example, leadership, empathy, integrity, but we don't look at any of that in the government recruitment. That is why all these
exactly.
OBC communities and all go backward, because they don't, if you look at honesty and all those things, they would also score very high.
I won't generalize.
Yes.
I won't generalize on that, but sir, let me give a very practical point. The practical point is we must attack standardized testing. We must attack standardized testing and exams, and say follow the private sector policies, follow the army's practice, follow the JNU's practice, and institution by institution we must take down standardized testing, because it is elitist. It is meant to create an oligarchy and continue an oligarchy. So that's a practical thing. That's the hub of the issue. Otherwise, we can explain anything we want. As long as we have exams, they've got half a mark more, they'll say, I'm better than you. And we can't argue with them because they believe they're better than us anyway. So they will use the half mark to justify their core belief. But we have to attack the question or the method of standardized testing as an indicator of merit and replace it with much more sophisticated forms, number one. Number two, we must understand that it is political in nature. That selection into public sector institutions is political in nature. It must be democratized and it must be made scientific. And it should not be on this Brahmanic idea that there are, as you said, fixed categories fixed by God. There is no need for this. The test is also just a pretense. It's just so that the right people will be, they know who to select without a test also. In fact, at the higher levels of judiciary, Justice Singh says there is no testing. There is no testing. God knows how they select because they know. So we have to bring in a scientific approach at every level, including higher level of the judiciary. All institutions, we must demand a scientific approach to testing. Multi-dimensional, multi-point approach to testing and take down exams. This is what should be, in my view, a practical agenda for us to change the discourse on this.
Thank you for very nice program and enlighten us, sir. Sir, my question is, just you said that affirmative action is not a reservation.
Yes,
तो
correct.
निवेदन था कि अभी सोशल मीडिया में बहुत सारे लोग क्रिटिसाइज करते हैं कि भारत का रिजर्वेशन पॉलिसी खराब है. वो कहते हैं मेरिट वर्सेस रिजर्वेशन. मतलब अमेरिका में मेरिट है और इंडिया में कास्ट सिस्टम है. कास्ट सिस्टम वर्सेस मेरिट सिस्टम. तो अमेरिका में प्रोग्रेस इसलिए है क्योंकि वहां मेरिट है और इंडिया में प्रोग्रेस इसलिए नहीं है क्योंकि यहाँ पर कास्ट सिस्टम है. इसके ऊपर मैं आपसे जानना चाहूंगा. मैं आपसे निवेदन करूंगा कि अमेरिका में इतनी प्रोग्रेस है, वो सारे दुनिया के टैलेंटेड लोगों को अलाउ करते हैं उनके एजुकेशन सिस्टम में, उनको एजुकेट करते हैं और उनका यूटिलाइज करते हैं अपने प्रोग्रेस में. तो भारत में जैसे ब्राह्मणिकल सिस्टम ऑफ एजुकेशन है, गुरुकुल सिस्टम, तो अभी डिमांड होने लगी है कि गुरुकुल सिस्टम को रीइंपोज किया जाए, जबकि मॉडर्न एजुकेशन सिस्टम ने इंडिया को प्रोग्रेस दी है. इतनी प्रोग्रेस जो हम देख रहे हैं वो मॉडर्न एजुकेशन सिस्टम की वजह से है. लेकिन जो रूढ़िवादी लोग हैं वो इसका विरोध करते हैं और गुरुकुल सिस्टम को लाना चाहते हैं. सर, इसके बारे में आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे? यूएसए वर्सेस इंडिया's प्रोग्रेस.
Sir, first of all, affirmative action, sir, is meant to ensure that the people who are not able to access the system because of poverty or other reasons are able to access the system. And so the overall system is fine. Some people are not able to access it. So the affirmative action provides opportunity for those kind of people like African Americans to access the system. Reservations was introduced into the Constitution to provide adequate representation and opportunities for advancement to socially and economically backward groups. Why? Because what America does not have and India has, which is the real reason for the difference in the two countries, is that India has an oligarchy and America does not have an oligarchy. Oligarchy is a very important word for us to understand. Oligarchy means, olig means few, archy means power, like anarchy, autarky. Archy means rule, not power, rule. So oligarchy means rule of a few people. Now, America was formed because the many poor Europeans got fed up of oligarchy in Europe and they came to America and established a democracy where they do not have to rule under an oligarchy. Today, the oligarchs, the children of the oligarchs of India are rushing to America, where the Avarnas of Europe went and started a new country without oligarchy. America was started by the Avarnas of Europe, the poor people of Europe. And they had no oligarchy, no aristocracy. They believed in democracy. So Dr. Ambedkar recognized, and all the social reformers recognized, that the main problem facing our country, as I said, the cardiac problem facing the country, central problem facing the country is we have an oligarchy. 93%, according to a paper published in the Economic and Political Weekly, which is now headed by Professor Gopal Guru in 2012, 93% of the boards of directors of Indian companies are Vaishya or Brahmin. 93%. We know number of professors, number of senior civil servants, number of, in any field, professional field, educational field, there is a tremendous concentration of especially the Dvija community. And so we have an oligarchy. A small section of the community, maybe 5%, 10% maximum, are ruling, are monopolizing all the power in the country. Such a country cannot progress because they will not allow any innovation, any new ideas. They will never welcome Americans to come here. They will go and migrate there, but they will never welcome Americans to come here and in large numbers and start their own business. They should not. That's a different issue. We don't want to be exploited by Americans, but they will not allow any change or any innovation from the inside or outside the country because they want to preserve the power of the few. So the first objective is to destroy the dismantle and destroy the oligarchy and spread power, for which Dr. Ambedkar evolved a instrument called reservation, which is an amazing instrument. If implemented, it will instantly dissolve the oligarchy, instantly, because it will set aside in legislature, judiciary, executive, and education space for everybody, according to adequate representation for everyone. When adequate representation for everyone comes within judiciary, executive, legislature, and education, that is the end of the oligarchy. Once the oligarchy is dissolved, then India will move forward. India will move forward. So we must understand that reservation is not a method to find people into a good system that they cannot have access to. That's affirmative action. Reservation is meant to dismantle the oligarchy in India. And that is why, as I said, reservation came from the anti-Brahmin movement. It first came in Maharashtra, Sahu Maharaj. Then in 1902, then it came from Tamil Nadu, 1921, Justice Party. Why was it produced by anti-Brahmin movement? Because anti-Brahmin movement was also against the Brahmin oligarchy. They were not against Brahmins as individuals or Brahmins as communities. Periyar said many times, we are not against individuals or communities. But we don't want an oligarchy, because this country cannot progress if power is concentrated in a few hands and they decide everything. So please understand that reservation is a political instrument to democratize the powerful sectors of this country. That is our priority. Let us first do that. Let us make sure that power is shared on the basis of adequate representation by all communities. Once that is achieved, then next stage we can go into how can we become like America and Europe and all that. It will become much easier. And today, if you look at the relative improvement of Kerala, Tamil Nadu, particularly Kerala and Tamil Nadu, you will find that Tamil Nadu less so than in Kerala. Wherever the oligarchy is weakened, there is immediate progress. There is immediate progress in the condition of the people everywhere in the world. So let us explain to people that reservation is simply meant to ensure that the oligarchy of power is broken in this country and we have representative institutions. Because real merit means what is it that we value? What we value is democracy. What we value is an institution, is a state where everybody has voice. So that is merit for us. For them, merit is not democracy. It is people who get 3 more marks in an exam, they must rule. Their own people must rule. Oligarchy is merit for them. Democracy is merit for us, not our oligarchy. So therefore, we have a disagreement. We have a serious philosophical, ideological disagreement. They believe in oligarchy, they believe in elitism, and they will therefore pursue that. We believe in democracy, we believe in equality, fraternity, freedom, liberty, and so we do not believe in that. So naturally we will have 2 different kinds of merit. We will have the democratic constitutional idea of merit, and they will have the oligarchic elitist idea of merit. Let us be very clear that they are only imposing on us an elitist oligarchic idea of merit, not a democratic idea of merit. And what America has is that more. They still have problems, as I said, with capitalism and great inequality, but they certainly don't have a social oligarchy anymore, which they had in Europe before they left. The Avarnas of Europe left and created America. Omkarji, I hope this speaks to you.
Sir, Gurukul system क्या scientific system है? It has scientific methodology?
No, Gurukul system again is to see, oligarchy means limit the number of people who will have education, limit the number of people who will have opportunity, make them an elite. make and rule through only, give them the merit that you want to have, what you believe is merit, which is belief in hierarchy, belief in elitism. Make them rule. You produce an oligarchy. Gurukul system cannot create mass education where everybody must have education. And if you believe in oligarchy, Gurukul system is very good for oligarchy. But if you believe in democracy, Gurukul system is not good for democracy. We need mass education, as we have had in Kerala. Mass education for people. And Kerala, look at how we have, how much better the condition of people in Kerala is, not because of Gurukul system, but because of a mass education. And we need good quality mass education to break, and that will never happen when an oligarchy rules us. And only those who believe in elitism and oligarchy will say that we need Gurukul system. Omkarji, the fight is between elitism and merit, between oligarchy and democracy. This is the fight. We don't have a common ground. We cannot persuade them. They will always say that what is good for elitism and what is good for oligarchy is real merit. We should say what is good for democracy, what is good for scientific approach and a democratic institution, equality, freedom, liberty. That is real merit according to us, according to the Constitution. We believe in that. So let us have the difference of opinion. But let us be very clear that they are only advancing this elitist, Brahmanical idea of merit, which means that merit is only for a few people. God has given gunas only to few people, and for their previous birth, not to the masses. And they alone must rule. Nobody else must rule. That is an oligarchy. They are the elite. They must rule. That is oligarchy. They must have a monopoly over power and resources. That is their system. Fair enough. That is not our system. It's not the system of our Constitution. We believe in equality. Nobody is superior and inferior as a human being to anybody else. Lata Mangeshkar can sing better than Sachin Tendulkar, but that does not make her a better human being than Sachin Tendulkar, or other way around. If you want to hear singing, you will want to hear it from Lata Mangeshkar, not from Sachin Tendulkar. If you want to see batting, you will want to see it from Sachin Tendulkar, not from Lata Mangeshkar. So it is according to the context we define what are the values we need. We don't believe in wholesale equality and hierarchy and inequality. We believe all human beings are equal. All human beings have capability depending on the context. We believe in fraternity, equal dignity, and we believe in liberty. We believe in constitutional values. For that, we have to dismantle the oligarchy, destroy the oligarchy, make sure there is adequate representation of power. It's essential for democracy. So if merit is the value for us, then meritless democracy is meritorious for us. Democracy is meritorious for us. Therefore, we need a system that will advance democracy, and we don't need a system that will advance oligarchy. So we need new types of testing, which will give opportunity and respect everybody's equality and give them opportunity. As we have done, as I think on that, we have made a lot of progress in Kerala compared to other parts of the country. Omkarji.
सर बहुत अच्छा लगा, यूजफुल जानकारी दी आपने, खास करके गीत का जो सुपरस्टिशन है वो उसके बारे में आपने हमें एनलाइट किया कि जो पूर्व जन्म के कर्म के आधार पर ये जन्म मिलता है, ये सुपरस्टिशन है. हम सारे मासेस को ये चीज बताएंगे और बताना चाहेंगे कि इस सुपरस्टिशन पर कभी विश्वास मत करो, और दुनिया में कभी वर्ण व्यवस्था थी ही नहीं. अशोक चंद्रगुप्त के जमाने में भी नहीं थी. ये हमें झूठ पढ़ाया जाता है कि वर्ण
अंधविश्वास है, वर्ण और जाति दोनों अंधविश्वास है.
जी जी जी
बिल्कुल. And we have to say without any apology, without any hesitation, for us merit means equality, liberty, freedom, democracy. And that is what is merit. Any policy that makes us more democratic is meritorious for us. And when all sections are represented in a public institution, it is a meritorious institution. That is merit. Having 3 people who got 2 marks more in running an institution, that is not merit for us. That is merit according to elitism and oligarchy, but not according to democracy. The real merit for us is democratic, constitutional idea of merit. So when people say that the reservation is killing merit, we have to say, no, Brahmanism is killing merit.
Right, very right.
Not reservation. Brahmanism is killing democratic merit, constitutional merit. Reservation is killing oligarchic merit, elitist merit. They are right. Reservation is supposed to kill oligarchic merit. Reservation is supposed to kill feudal ideas of merit. It is supposed to do that. If it is doing that, thank you very much. Very good. But what is killing democratic idea of merit, scientific approach to merit, is actually Brahmanism, not reservation. Thank you, sir. Okay. Meanwhile, any other question? Any other comment or question?
Hello.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Hello.
जी बताइए.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes. You're Mr. Utkarsh
Yes,
Mohon.
yes, sir. Yes.
जी. स्वागत कर जी.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And it has been pleasure for me to listen Professor Gopal Guru. And you profoundly said the name of my research guide, Professor A.M. Kunnaman. I was in TIS Tulzapur. He was my research guide at that time.
Oh, wonderful. Right there.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So I just want to tell one or two things.
Where was Professor Kunnaman your research guide? Which, in Delhi?
In TIS Tulzapur, sir. Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Tulzapur. Tulzapur campus, yes, sir. Yeah. So I want to tell, rather I want to elaborate my experience. That I did my bachelor's in physics, then I did pursued development policy planning and practice from TIS, and now I am a research scholar. I'm doing PhD.
Yes.
So my father is uneducated. He is a ninth class pass, and mother is also 9th and 10th class pass. And I am a son of a wage earner, daily wage earner, and now I am pursuing a PhD. So what you said, sir, correctly, that the reservation is a political tool. So it's a political in nature. I have an experience. I entered into TISS and attained a second highest grade in my class. One second.
Yes.
Second highest grade in my class. So at that time, I also got in confidence and I started interacted with number of students across the caste and class. So people also acknowledge that he is getting good marks, but at the time, people don't know the identity from which caste background he is belonging. Once in a while, I interact with a student of same caste by saying is as a Jaibing, greeting is as a Jaibing. Then people know that he belongs to the scheduled caste. So what happens after this is an exact in an exact reverse way, in a contrast, that people are challenging my merit, my grades, that how he can earn that much grade. That is my worst experience in TISS. So what Omkar sir is saying, or anyone is saying, that how merit has been hijacked by the notion of getting higher grades. But what my professor has always said to me, that what you are is not important, from where you are coming, that is what is important, as Professor Kunnaman has said to me. And again, he said that leisure people can think. The people who have leisure are able to think, and the people who are from, like me, from the backward caste and the poor economic background, hardly have any chances to think, because they have to manage their food and all. The most of the time there has gone into the managing food and all stuff. So now what I'm doing a PhD, and what you said, sir, that our merit can be judged through the constitutional values, that equality, liberty, fraternity. Its positive impact. Yesterday, day before yesterday, I got a call from TIS, one of my classmates from TIS. He told me that, what are you doing? I said, I am doing PhD. Do you want to go for a PDoc? I said, yes, I want to go for a PDoc. Now she said to me that कोई हेल्प लगेगा तो बोलना, मैं जरूर करूंगी. क्योंकि उसने पहले जब मैं टीस में था तो शी डिनाइड मी, उसके पास थोड़ा वो फीलिंग नहीं था. So that has made the constitutional values, that has proved the constitutional values are only the constituents of the merit. That's all I wanted to say. And Omkar sir said one thing, that the Americans in America and India, so we have the better system in India. because we are here quoting the figure of representation. In America, they are not quoting a figure, but they have done one good thing, that is disparate impact. They have given the term disparate impact. What is disparate impact? Disparate impact is the measuring of underrepresentation. So I think in understanding the policy framework at grassroots level or in academia or in a research, we must work on such concepts like a disparate impact and come with the evidence-based policy framework. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
My tribute to you for your incredible achievements, That's what I was saying, that everybody has capacity for memory, everybody has, and even what I'm saying is that even those who are struggling to make a living, even they have actually fantastic levels of intelligence, because the word intelligence simply means inter and legare. It means inter is what is in between, legare is draw out. So intelligence simply means the ability to see what is not obvious. And every human being, especially those who struggle, have high levels of intelligence. Now, if you take, as we discussed earlier, some narrow indicators of intelligence, then some people may come out, better than others. But that doesn't mean they don't have intelligence. You have to, as Justice Saab said, if you ask a fish to climb trees, as he quoted Einstein as saying, that's a wrong thing to do. But you should look at the right values. So we recognize, the Constitution recognizes that everyone has the same potential, the same capacity, and what you have done is amazing. And I want to pay my tribute to you and wish you very, very, all the very best. So what I was saying was that look, let us say number one, that our objective is to break down the oligarchy, because as long as we are ruled by a social oligarchy, this country cannot progress. Number one priority. Number two priority, let us understand that the idea of merit has been politically hijacked by the oligarchy. And they are using it against us. We want to liberate, number three, we want to liberate merit from this political use. We want to use it scientifically, democratically, constitutionally, in order to make sure that this country moves forward on the basis of properly recognizing what should be recognized and how it should be recognized in a democratic constitutional way, so that everyone's merit will be recognized. We want a constitutional merit where everyone's merit will be recognized. So this should be, in my view, this should be our response to anyone who says reservations kill merit. We have to say Brahmanism kills merit. Brahmanism is elitist and oligarchic, and it has hijacked the idea of merit as a political instrument to keep up the oligarchy. What we want to do is we want to liberate the idea of merit from this oligarchy and convert merit into a democratic idea where every human being has merit. And the challenge is to recognize all the merit of all the human beings and give them appropriate opportunity and the ability to flourish, which will happen when we end the oligarchy and replace it with a democracy.